Welcome to the podcast, The Things We Don't Say. Today I have Julian and Rebecca who will be joining me in a discussion about our dads. And so the role of this is basically say the role of the father, his impact when he's present and when he's absent. So Becca and Julian will kind of take us through what that's meant, what that looks like. And I just want to say to Julian and Rebecca, thank you so much for taking the time. All we have is time for taking the time when I've reached out to both of you to say, absolutely count me in. It means the world to me. It's for young people that have these questions and thoughts to understand what they can do, to know that other people are also facing certain battles, because it always starts in the mental. So I just really want to thank you guys for your time. And I want to hand it over to you to say who you are and tell people, who you are. So Julian, we'll start with you.
All right, what up, world? Let's seize the moment here. I'm an artist. I'm also a creator. So you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram. And I got some things in the making. So I'm not going to talk much on that. But yeah, I'm an artist and a creator, a father. And I'm someone that is...
a great brother.
A great brother, a great friend, a great... Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have, a lot of things to share with the world, a lot of experience. So that's what I bring to the table. Yeah.
Thank you, Julian. And Rebecca?
Hello, everyone. I'm Rebecca. I am a half of another, so I have a twin sister named Rachel. She cannot join us today because she's on vacation. I am also a parent. I am a mother. I have two daughters, one that's 13, one that's 5. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have my own business in the health and wellness sector called Mama's Moss. You can find us on Instagram at Mama's Moss. I'm also an insurance advisor, full-time. So between juggling the family life, the business, and work, there's a lot to balance there. But us super moms make it happen. And I'm sorry, my eyes are burning from all the screen time. Yes, so that's a bit about me for now.
So I just wanted to have this discussion, like I said, for young people who may face their father's absence, and just talk about what that's done for us as we've grown. Also reflecting, right? Not everyone comes to a moment of reflection. And so I know I've had many deep conversations with Julian where it's like the souls just feel together naturally.
We're connected.
And Rebecca, you've been my sounding board for many years, deep thoughts beyond my imagination. So I just wanted to have this forum for people to relate to and hear a different perspective and thoughts. So we're talking about dads and the impact of our father, which I feel, and obviously interject, is very important. It's a very important
vital
role, and sometimes it's undermined. But it's very, very important. So maybe, Julian, if you could start us off with telling us your experience with having your dad growing up as a young man.
Okay, so my father was an immigrant. Let's start there, right? Just getting used to things. There's a lot of racism. There's a lot of adjustments. You know what I mean? We're still a minority, but even back then you can imagine, right? The adversities and all the stuff that you have to face, challenges. Yeah. So it's like coming from a third world country and then seeing this new experience or experiencing this new thing. So it's just he's just adjusting. And then he saw my mom and he was interested in my mom and he chased her around for a long time. I don't think that she was even interested in him at the time. Okay. But, everything happens for a reason. And hey, it came together. He went to my grandmother and asked for her hand in marriage and he got the okay and that all went through. So my experience having my father around. So my father was one of those hardworking fathers. He was very educated. Let me start there as well. My father graduated from DeVry. He had a degree from DeVry in business. He had his own business. He was an electrician. So he had the smarts. He had the upstairs. He's also left-handed. So people that are left-handed, they're generally intellectual.
Yeah.
So he was very articulative. As you can see, myself, I am. He knew how to explain himself very well.
Too, Lauren.
Very well spoken. Yeah, so
he was a man's man.
The touch on the points.
He was a man's man. He was an alpha male. He really
provider.
He took the leadership.
provider,
And
alpha
sorry,
male.
I'm interjecting too, because as I said, I was neighbors to Rebecca and Julian. And so I also was in the home a lot. And I got to experience almost having like a second father and what that looked like, and very much like my own father. So as you're continuing, Julian, he was an alpha male, a man's man.
I want to get to all of that so that you know what type of person you're dealing with. So
you're painting the image.
I'm painting the image. I'm putting all the illustrations out there.
Okay.
So man's man, works hard, has a brain upstairs, had his own business. So he had a shirt tech. It was a alarm company business. And he was also a hustler. I'm not afraid to say that now. There's no reason why I can't say that now. He was a hustler. So he always had stacks of money. He's always working hard. But the issue is he was seldomly home. He was
Not enough
seldomly
time.
home. So his absence, now we're being exposed to all other influences now as young males, young females. And you know how that goes. We live in the inner city. We grew up in Scarborough. We're from Scarborough. Stop me if I'm going on a tangent.
No. See, this is flowing, right? You're basically, and I'm going to interject too, because obviously we're siblings. So I know what you're trying to say, and I know what you're trying to, explicitly show everybody. But I want you to convey, first of all, that this is a married man. So he came here. Yes, he established himself from school. He got his degree. He opened up his own business, entrepreneur. Him and mom built business together, because mom is there on the back end running stuff while he's on the forefront, actually going out there and doing the work. So imagine the home life. It's like, now they have 6 kids. He's seldomly home. So all of that falls onto mom, which then creates what kind of environment for us? So now we're talking about...
Just to interject you. So Julian, seeing your dad, the characteristics that you took from him, seeing him working hard, seeing him being at home when he was to provide, seeing the type of duties that he was responsible for. What did you take from him? When you thought of dad, what are characteristics you thought of your dad? Like when you saw a man, you were thinking it was what? They were what?
Be transparent here.
I want to open up more. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like my mom was very beautiful, mind you, and she still is, but it's like he also was a womanizer. So yes, he had other woman companionship as well, right? So his time, he wasn't really home, and when he was home, he was always tired, so he never had an opportunity. He never had an opportunity to really spend time with
be hands-on,
in the sense of like, take us to soccer practices. We were all very talented, mind you. All of my siblings, I have a lot of siblings, were all very talented. And I feel like it would have went a long way if his presence was just there. I feel like that's the thing that's missing. It's like, you want someone to take you to soccer practices. You want someone to show up to your speech art events. You want someone to, you know what I mean? So with that being said, it's like, you just feel like empty. You just feel like, it's almost like a sense of depression in a sense. It's like, damn, I wish my dad could see that. I wish my dad saw me score that goal. You know what I'm saying?
You didn't feel like he was there to celebrate you, to be present. Like it was almost like, yes, the sacrifices could somewhat be in vain, because as a result, it's like you were neglected, So it's like, yes, there was great things about him being a provider, being this, this go-getter, especially to provide for 6 kids and a wife who's a stay-at-home wife. So we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But then, so what did that impact you? Because now as a father, you also are doing the complete opposite, hands-on, all this stuff. So to shed light on that, what did his void or his lack thereof now do for you or do to you?
Like, I feel like with this generation now, we are totally polar opposites of our parents in a sense, especially the fathers. Let's not say the mother. The mother's always good, stay at home, but the fathers, where you got to keep in mind that they almost came from the slavery. They're coming like directly from that timeline where you weren't allowed to even have a family. This is why now, as a grown man, I kind of ease up a bit more on the judgment, right? I more see to it that, listen, they were naive. They were ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Because they never had a chance. Like literally in that slavery time,
they understand.
Sex like a dog, like an animal, and then separate the family. So you never knew. Like they display their love in a different way.
And I think we don't really understand how this trauma has been generational for like decades, centuries. It's like the importance of the I'm gonna say this, the Black man, the Black father in the home, it was almost like, yeah, take him away and watch everything crumble. Because if we fast forward to now, it's almost like a lot of mothers are like, I'm independent, I can do it on my own, not realizing what this does to your child.
So then maybe can you talk about what it was like for a mother to raise boys and what you feel that duality was like, not having your dad's full presence, your mom now raising men. What did that do for you?
Well, again, my mom, she loves us and she shows her love by loyalty. So I never really got those hugs and those kisses and those embraces to say, son, you're great. You're going to be great. It's like I see in her, but she didn't show it to me. And I feel like love is a verb and love is an action word.
You
Love
feel
someone.
like your dad was more affectionate?
Neither of them, to be honest.
Okay.
And I think that's how I kind of fell, or I was directed the wrong way, trying to look for love and ended up in the wrong place as well. I think that all plays a factor to it.
So saying that it's very important to have both dad and mom. They both play their own
dynamics,
but together it's powerful and it really helps sustain a child's well-being.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're left to you describing your dad and what he had to do and that he wasn't fully present. Okay, I just kind of want to shift over to Rebecca now, right? Yeah. Hear what she has to say because the age was younger. You're a female, Rebecca. So I just want you to take people through when you think of dad, when you thought of my dad, what comes to your mind?
Okay, so imagine I have 4 older brothers, like in the home, and then there's just me and my sister. And obviously, I'm speaking to everybody who doesn't know us, right? Melissa already knows that she's experienced it. We are the only girls. We're treated like the princesses. We get whatever we want, especially because there is that there's not enough of the physical, so there's in other ways. Here's money, go shopping. Here, go there, go there. So that part was great. But I think the most important thing that I've realized, obviously now that I'm older and also in my teens, was that the money or the materials never made up for the time. So I think we yearned for my dad's physical presence. He was always loving when he was home, which would be like, yeah, he came home every single night. It wasn't like we're sleeping without him.
The babies, he would hold you both side by side.
The hugs, very loving. As soon as he got home, if we're hungry, okay, take us here, take us there. I vividly remember my dad walks in the door, he sits on the couch, I take off his shoes, I take off his socks, he served dinner. Like he was the man. Like if there was anything that I would look to say, like, this is the qualities of a husband and how he should be treated, I would say that was my dad. But then when it comes to the factor of the children, the not being present, the not going to, the games, the concerts, those things matter most. And I think that's what I'm taking with as a young girl. By the time I reach 15, the yearn was now more grand. It was like, okay, you're not really looking for that daddy love, you're looking for security. And that's what brought us, I feel like, to relationships very early. And I still ponder to this day that if my dad was in the home at 15, 16, would my life or would my relationship career start so soon? It probably wouldn't have, because I don't think I was lacking anything when he was there. It's once he was removed out of the home, then it was like, okay, the void. And now that's when like Cesar said, you're now looking for love in other places. Sure, my mom was there. Sure, she loved me, but the love of a father triumphs, I think, especially for a daughter. There's a different type of...
Hold the thought too. Like, let's go back and forth. It's like, keep in mind, Rebecca is the youngest out of 6 of us that grew up. My dad had 10 kids, like in its entirety.
Total.
In total. But within the household, there was 6 of us. So keep in mind, Rebecca has
I'm the baby.
But there's only so much you can do as a brother. Like, I'm not her father. Like now, as an older person now, as a mature older man
when
now,
I can look
back and think, yeah, we should have been there for our sister, but there's only so much you can do. The father really needs to be in the house.
And I feel like the mental capacity is not fully there yet to grasp all of that, right?
The maturity too, the experience.
You're doing all your own things. You're not really thinking about all the intrinsic details that you need to provide for someone else. So there's grace to be given to you as well.
Absolutely.
You're coming full circle now to say, and you've always been like that, Julian, to say like, how can
accountable
I help? What can I do? Okay, I see where you're coming from. My bad. So it's okay. And it's a blessing now that you have that time to bond and reconnect and move forward from that. So just to reiterate, the father was in the home, you enjoyed your dad, he treated you like a princess. The stability was always there, the security. You always knew that you would never starve. There was always money to be given. And then now the presence is taken away. When did you realize your dad was gone? Like, he's not coming back. It's not just a little trip. Like, wow, dad's really gone.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously now that we're coming full circle and I can look back and even I can appreciate that it was a selfish act, but it was an act that I feel like as a human, take away the titles, take away him being a father, just take away him being, just leave him as a human being, that he needed to remove himself. He went to Jamaica, he built up his business, what have you. Now, when I look back, I can have more understanding. I can have a little more, I guess, consideration to be like, you know what, I'm going to give him grace. But I will say I was 15 years old. I had just started high school, grade 9. I think after the first year, that's when it really hit me, where it was like, okay, I'm in a new experience. I'm mature now, getting my first job. Okay, gonna get my license soon, and it's like, but there's no dad. Like, sure, you can call him on the phone, but the physical person to hug, to feel this reassurance of everything's gonna be around. Everything's going to be all right, especially that all my life I knew that I could one call, my dad's going to be there, whether it's to protect me, to provide something, or to be a listening ear, because he's very, very good with his words. And he's so smart, so if you have any questions, that's my go-to. So it's like, it's one thing to pick up the phone and call, and those times you weren't video chatting, so it wasn't like now where I could FaceTime him and everything's even more, I could feel the energy through the camera. It's like back then, it's like I think I held a lot of resentment.
I want to just interject on that. For someone looking into this and listening and saying, my dad picked up and left me and my mom, or my dad picked up and left me. And you mentioned to say that you can look back now and take out the titles and just say, as a human being, you can give him grace. What would be a suggestion to someone that hates their dad, that says, you're a coward for leaving? How could you do that? Even understanding the context of relationships and people not getting along and certain things that happen in that dynamic that's very toxic and all those things. What could you suggest to them to say, like, that they're holding it up in their heart because obviously they love their dad and care for their dad?
Of course.
What may you suggest to them to give some opening to maybe considering that?
It's a double-ended sword, because I can't tell you what you feel, the depths of that pain, of that hurt, of that, why would you leave me? How come I wasn't enough for you to make the sacrifice to stay? There's all those questions, right? But I think just with maturity, with experience, and also with forgiveness for myself, because if I'm holding him up, that's in my heart, right? So it's like, think about it, like, and this is, I guess, when you put the title to the side, at the end of the day, your parent is just a human like you. Okay, we are all trying. Now that I'm a mother and I'm, some days it's like, okay, I don't want to be a mom. And it sounds really weird to even say that, because it's almost like I'm saying to God, I don't appreciate my kids, or I'm not grateful that, I'm blessed.
I think there's also a duality in things. You're having a
still
experience. So
Yes.
You can still be thankful and still have off days. And that's also okay. Because as you said, we're trying. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There's no script.
Some days you get back up. And as this is, the things we don't say. How many people have the guts and bravery to actually say,
be forefront?
like, no, this is how I feel. I hold a lot of titles, and today I don't feel like that. So as you're saying,
the support obviously is the number one thing, and I can only speak from my own experience that I have ample amount of support. So on those days where I feel withdrawn, I can say that there's someone to step in and be like, don't worry, Becca, I got you, rest. But I say that to say that think of your parent as another human being, and leave the title to the side. So what grace could you offer? What grace would you want for yourself? That's the same grace I'm extending to anybody. So for my dad in particular, I will say that I held a lot of resentment for years, until I realized that I was only hurting myself, holding on to that, being upset if he called, giving him attitude, or keep bringing up the past. It's like, let's talk about it. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's get to the bottom line. Why did you leave? What was mentally going on in your head that made you make this decision without considering your children don't ask to be here, right? So a lot of those things, a lot of the questions needed answers. Some things needed time, and with time the answers came, they were revealed. But a lot of things needed upfront right away. I need it to be answered now so that I can move on from this. And I think between me and all my siblings, we all had different timing with that. The forgiveness, the understanding, the, coming to terms with like, okay, I'm over it. Like
Let me
Rachel, I
stop you
think
right
was
there.
the
Let me stop you right
first.
there.
Julian, I was going to say, please share too your resentment of what you held or what you thought, and when you came to say, you know what, I want to open up, I want to be cool and cordial.
Okay, let me tell you, I last year May of 2024 was the first time I seen my dad in 10 years. 10 years. So think of the absence. And I'm still not a person that really goes on the phone and talks and communicates like that. I'm kind of antisocial or introverted, you can kind of say. Like, I speak well, but I'm still like, I like to be by myself most of the time. So nevertheless, yeah, so I held resentment for the longest time, you know what I mean? And it's like, in some ways, I still kind of feel it. I just feel like when you decide to have kids, man, no matter what, it's a natural inclination. It's an intrinsic nature that you want to do the best for your child. Like, I feel like I sacrifice so much right now for my kids. Like, I will literally like do anything. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I sacrifice so much, and it's just like, you have to be there to fully see your kids go through, unless like there's something, I don't know, catastrophic that's
But
happening.
let's put a pin because I was
Yeah.
15. So it's
I
not like
know,
he
I
didn't
know.
see us for how many years. He was a father from he was 18 years old. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that. So he didn't even get to really experience. And I think that's another thing when you have children so young, there's gonna be some points that it's like you get that tick where it's, oh my God, life is happening so quickly. I've been a parent for this long. When did I get time for me? And I think that's where dad really came to
That's what I think as well too, right?
to say,
He
listen,
had so
I'm
much of
gonna
us
do
so
for
quickly.
me. Yeah.
He had so much of us so quickly, and like I said, he was an immigrant. It's not like us that's born here. So him coming here and seeing all these things, it's like, wow, it's like you're stuck in this la la land. So you kind of get
Until
lost. But now when I play it back, like now as a big man, now I
he
play it
already
back.
had
And
a
I'm like,
dream. He had a vision. He worked, and that this was to work towards it. And I think that's the difference between him and mom, where it's like,
yeah,
was this ever really home? And that's why I'm not holding him up for nothing, because I understand like that is where you saw your end. So you wanted to go set
yeah,
up shop there. You already set up shop here. From you came, you worked, you bought your first house,
yeah,
22, 23 years old, you married, you had all your kids. Now you're 45 and you're like, okay, you know what, I think I've done enough. And it's not so much about who it's going to affect, it's about how it's affecting me, him, the person. I think
Which
that's
is
yeah,
where I
yeah.
can,
also,
That's what it is. That's
Becca,
what it
which is
is.
also one perspective, your
that's what I'm
perspective,
saying,
right? That's your
right.
perspective. And Julian's perspective is saying,
Hmm.
regardless, it doesn't matter your vision, your
As a man.
longevity, as a
Hmm.
man, as a
Hmm.
dad, having kids, you stay and you figure it out and you endure
Hmm.
with the child, right?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
Julian, taking us, continuing to say now, how did you decide to say, you know what, dad, love is love?
Exactly. So I think I always had a spirit with me, always. Like I always been someone that's conscious, but it's just like maturing into that consciousness
Mm-hmm.
and
Hmm.
reading more and enlightening myself
Mm-hmm.
and vibrating higher. I got to that common
Where
ground
you
to
could
me.
finally,
A man is just a man. A
Come
man
on.
is just a man.
Come
That's
on.
that's that's all it really is. A man is just a
we're
man.
putting on these
We're
expectations,
putting
we're
on
putting
all
on all
these
this
things on
pressure.
somebody, but you're really just nothing. The only person is Christ. And I'm not trying to say, I know everyone has their religion, but I think that's where I got to that healing and forgiveness,
That's the truth, speak
is
it.
the knowledge of Christ.
Hmm.
So knowing that Christ forgives everyone, so who are you to hold
To not
anything like
forgive.
that? And
Hmm.
it's also to your detriment holding on to that, because who's it affecting? It's not
That's what
affecting
I,
anybody else but yourself.
and Caesar,
You
tell
know what
the
I'm saying?
truth.
Yeah.
There's how many of us? We have a group chat. We talk every single day. The six of us are obviously the closest, but then we talk to our other siblings, sure. But in our chat, we've been saying to Caesar over the years, let go, let God, forgiveness is for you. It's not for him. It's not for anybody. It's for you. And Caesar would say, you guys don't understand it. But we all been through the same thing as him. We just experienced it differently. So we
Yeah.
couldn't tell him how to feel. We
No.
couldn't tell, even though I felt like, hey, as the girls, as the daughter, as the youngest, as the baby, I feel worse than you. I needed him more than you. You were a big 18-year-old man. Blah,
But
blah,
hold
blah.
on.
Doesn't matter.
Hold on. What it
What
was
you
for
felt
me?
is what you felt.
Nah,
Mhm.
the thing was more so than anything else, right? The thing for me, more so than anything else, is that you got to keep in mind, I've been an artist most of my life, an aspiring artist most of my life. And in that time, my dad was my manager. So I was traveling all over like the US. I was in California, Atlanta, Carolina, doing shows in the studio, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like right when we were at the brink of taking
Busing.
down the barricades, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But shit, he had to leave or whatever. Like whatever happened, he had to leave, and it didn't go through. Like we keep in mind, I want to make this clear. My brother and I had a record deal with Sony BMG. It was a singles deal, and the video was done. The song was done. The song was hot. Everyone that knows the song "Gotta Get Ya," everybody knows that in the streets that was in that time, right? And right when it was about to bust, he took away
Right.
his presence.
Mhm. Mhm.
And not only that, so not seeing that go through, that kind of affected me to hold up.
It crushed
It's a
you.
personal thing.
Mhm.
He took, at that time, I was producing like crazy. I was more of a producer than even, I was balancing it, but I was more of a producer than even an artist. And I feel like what he took away, because he had to take, we had like a
Basically, the
$100,000
studio.
worth of studio equipment in my basement.
Mhm.
Like him taking that away, I like literally in that time, I felt like I kind of lost my,
Your way.
you know what I'm saying, my way in a sense. Because
Mhm.
that's all I ever known. Like I never wanted to like work no 9 to 5 or to go out into that. You know what I'm trying to say? Like that music was always my thing. Like I'd even finish a lot of my schooling because of music. Like this is everything to me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's why I had that resentment. It was more of a personal thing. But
I just wanted to say, so could you say that, what could you say was the importance of your dad's presence? If you could say it in one sentence, like what did he really bring to the table, to the family, not to the table, to the family? What is it that he really brought to the table? Would you say stability? Would you say love? Like what is it that he brought that you more like? I feel like sometimes you know what you have in front of you, and most times we do. We like to say cliche, you don't know what you have till it's gone. I feel like you do. It might give a little more emphasis, but looking back, it's like what did your dad offer that's just irreplaceable?
his wisdom, I would say. Even though he made those mistakes, my dad, like, and his
He's a
energy,
wise
anyone that knows
man.
him,
Yeah.
like, he reminds me of myself so much. Like, we have
Mhm.
this mellow, calm nature and the things that we say, and it's the way the delivery is.
Mhm.
Like with my dad, you feel his energy. I feel like that was needed, man. That was needed to see all of us. Like I said, all of my siblings were very talented and still are. Like, look, my brother's a producer, and my next brother's an actor. Rebecca has her business. I'm an artist. Like, we were all so very great at everything we done. With that
Mhm.
presence there, I promise you would see all of us
I
a
think
lot
I
better.
would say it's like a man in the home
Yes.
is it's like having a house with no windows. It's like, yeah, the structure is there. Yeah, you could be there without the windows, put up the curtains, whatever, but you need it type of thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like we still did very well without my dad being physically there, but it would have made a difference having him there, and it would have been a major difference. So I think just to like put it into the most simplest terms, now that I'm a mother and I get to witness my daughter's father be so hands-on, so present, like pretty much to me, because I like to toot my horn and say the moms are most important. Without us, there's no life anyway, so we are. But let's just give the dads the equal, the relevance that
Credit.
you guys are
Mhm.
important
Credit.
too. Yeah, it makes a difference. Like just in the tone, women we might get a little more irritated, more irritable, might want to yell, scream. The dad is usually doesn't have to raise his voice. My dad doesn't have to yell. He just needs to talk once and you listen. There's order, there's
Okay,
structure,
discipline,
there's
discipline, discipline,
discipline.
discipline.
I just want to circle to two things about that. So I do
Mhm.
recall having experience coming over to your house and the difference there was when it was your mom home versus your dad home. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 6 of you. There's a lot of company.
Chaos.
People would come over and your
Mhm.
mom would try to say she wants quiet time with her family, but no one's really listening. But when your dad came through that front door and said, everyone remove themselves from the house, instantly, like cockroaches, everyone is gone. When the girls would try to yell or someone would try to yell, it could be your sister, yourself, your mom. Your dad did not go with yelling and disrespect. And he would talk so eloquently too to bring it
Mhm.
back down. And you would say, Dad, but, and he would say, baby, I understand, but X, Y, and Z. So I just wanted to attest to that too. There was a lot of order. And even with the boys, the fighting could
The
only go
fighting.
far, and then it would have to be like, enough, right? And once he
Mhm.
put his voice to a stern posture and
Mhm.
walked in, no,
There was
everyone
order.
was
I
going
think
to
just
their
to look in
corner.
his eyes, just to look in his eyes alone.
Can you guys, from your own experience with friends, family situations, see the difference or an outcome with females or males that do not have a father figure? Do you feel that there is an impact and a difference? Can you take 10 girlfriends or 10 males without a father and 10 with and see the dualities of it, like the similarities, the differences, anything to say to that?
I think that people always make this, joke about girls that date a lot of guys or that they get around. It's like, oh, she has daddy issues, but it's like, it's a serious thing. It's not just like she has daddy issues. It's like because of the lack of the father, whether in the home or in her life, the presence of him has now brought the result of said, which is whatever it is. I would say growing up, like high school, I remember the friends who didn't have the father in the home versus the ones that did.
But
More
sometimes
wild.
even some I feel like sometimes even with the father, there's other things. So let's
Of
not also
course.
say like, because I will speak for
Because you can
myself.
have,
I
right.
had a father growing up, right?
Mhm.
But I also yearned for a different type of love, more
Of
nurturing,
course.
caring, which Rebecca, you can also attest to because you were in my
Yeah.
home a lot. You
Softer.
knew what
Mhm,
happened as well. So there were a lot of positives having a father figure, but there was also a lot of repercussions. And I feel like when I look at my girlfriends without a dad and I look at my girlfriends with a dad, there's different things to discuss
There's separate
within it.
sectors.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But
Because remember, everyone's situational. So
yeah,
it's like you can have a father in the home, but he's abusive or he's an alcoholic. You have a
yes.
father in the home, all he does is work. He doesn't give you no time, no
But
attention.
also see women who do have a father that's active, like if your dad was there through and through, certain things were not happening. Like
We're
no
not gonna go on.
sleeping over, no man swearing. He did have very fundamental principles about himself and how he
Yeah.
you. And I can see that versus women that are raised by a mom and then the mom and daughter is a whole
Mm-hmm.
other discussion of what
Mm-hmm.
happens with
Mm-hmm.
emotions and stuff, right? Julian, can you speak to any experiences of knowing women that didn't have the father figure and what they were looking for or what you felt they needed, maybe?
Yeah, I think that most of the females that don't have a father present in their home, they always end up having daddy issues.
We say these very generic terms, but when you
Yeah.
say daddy issues,
What
what are
does
you
it mean to me?
classifying? Like someone that's not disciplined, someone that's looking for love from someone who can't give them the
Vulnerable,
love.
easy
What, yeah, thank you.
manipulated by a man,
Yes. Yes.
very quick and eager for male attention, male affection, male
Yes.
presence. They yearn for this because the
Amen.
void and the lack that they've had. I think when we speak of daddy issues, we're talking about it's being replaced by another male figure, and it's not your dad.
To add to that too, it's generally someone that's not really right for them either.
Right. That's why it's like because they're vulnerable, they end up being a victim of
So they
whatever type of
exactly they
man.
get manipulated because of that vulnerability.
If there's one thing, and Becca, I'm going to turn the question to you, is as a father to your young daughter, what's one thing you would want her to always keep with her throughout her life journey?
Last week I took my daughter to see The Kings of Kings.
Okay.
Oh,
And
the movie.
we shared such a special moment. I'm so glad that I got to share this. I never shared it with anyone actually.
Beautiful.
She was crying.
That's
She was
beautiful.
crying because she
She
actually goes
felt.
to church. She's in a youth
Mhm,
group. She's in a youth group because my daughter's
mhm,
actually a president of her school. My daughter's very smart.
Very
mhm.
nice.
But now I got to see with my own eyes her acknowledging and witnessing like the actual love
Very
and the
to love
sacrifice
to a
of
mother.
Christ. Yeah, and I saw her cry and I started to cry as well. She
Oh
never
my
saw me
God.
crying. She never saw me crying, but I was crying.
That's
I'm seeing her
beautiful.
crying like when Christ is carrying the cross and seeing how everyone and he loved everyone and everyone's treating him so bad and they're beating him and like he can't even get water to drink. Like she got to see all of those things. So I think to answer the question is having that knowledge and love of Christ. And to me, it's so fulfilling. Just knowing, hey, listen, with that, what she has right there, that's
She can
the
grow.
love and the discipline and the moral compass and everything that's needed. It's only the Most High. Like no, that's like the core ingredients. Like without this, you're gonna wither, you're gonna sway, you're gonna fall to different temptations, you're gonna fall into, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's one thing is the knowledge of God and the love of Christ and just a spirit. And I'm so grateful to be honest, because the day she was born, I saw the spirit in her, and it's like it's just manifesting. So it's amazing to see. To be honest, man, that's the greatest thing I could say. That's the greatest thing.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And
Yeah,
eventually, too, I'm going to want to talk 100% on spirituality and God because that can go super deep. That is the start to everything. But thank you for that. And Rebecca, what would you say to your two daughters? What would you want them to know?
Well, obviously, I think being raised in a spiritually inclined family, we know the love of Christ, we know the foundation. Again, I'm touching on that because I feel like uh that's the core grounding mechanism for any decision you make in life. Your first, I think, your line of approval would be, I would say, is like, what would God think of me? Or
your
if I
compass,
did
your
this or
compass,
that. Yeah, it's
GPS,
like,
GPS.
yeah, so I think the first thing is to know that they'll always have support from myself and their dad. I think that they've been blessed with such a present father and an active one, that in terms of like there's nothing that you need external from home. But if you're going to go out there, make sure that you know that you're enough as you are. There is nothing more that you need to be or that you need to do to
Get anyone's
to
approval or
to get any,
validation.
if it's any approval, and you're saying all the things, any valuation, that you are enough. You're perfectly and wonderfully made by Christ, and that is what I would say to them. One thing in addition would just be also is be a leader.
Yes,
There's always going to be trendy things, with social media. Everything is at the click of a finger. They're exposed to so much. Never forget what you've learned from home. Never forget God, and everything else will fall into place. You never need to follow no one but Christ. That's it.
and that you never have to fit in. See, people get led astray when you want to fit in, when you
Mm-hmm.
feel like, oh, my skin's not light enough, or my hair
My
is too
hair.
kinky, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. Like you're good enough, and you don't need to
Mm-hmm.
fit in, stand out, even with your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, with whatever. Like, don't
Mm-hmm.
just go with
Mm-hmm.
the flow.
Just know
Yeah,
that you are
yeah,
enough as you are, literally. I
and
think
you're
when I
blessed.
was
You know
younger, I
what I
had
mean?
a lot of things that I thought I needed to be or needed to do. And I wouldn't say it was to follow. I would say more so it's just like to be like, you want to, you have your crowd. You know what I'm saying? You have, okay, this is where I know I want to be. I don't want to be with the geeks. I don't want to be with the rockers or the cheerleaders. I want to be with the jocks. I think everybody knows their place, but it's like, also don't have to try. If it's your place, you're going to fit there. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to
Yeah.
try to be anything else. And I think that is something that I feel like, now as a grown woman, I am so confident. Thank you, Jesus. Because when I was young, I wasn't. And I think Julia has a lot of my timid ways, but I'm realizing with her being in sports and her just being more confident in herself and in her being, that I'm realizing she's changing a lot quicker than I did. And I'm really happy about that. Jayla, on the other hand, is that child is her own. Okay, she doesn't need me to tell her anything because she got it down pat, and I'm glad about that too. She's like Rachel, not like me, and that's a good thing.
Just one more
Hmm.
thing that I wanted to know from you too. Do you
Hmm.
feel like your experience with your dad impacted the way that you approach situations in terms of how you viewed love or how you placed men in certain roles? Do you feel an impact or connection between your dad leaving and now going into relationships? Like, how did you interpret or deal with that?
Funny enough, I feel like myself and even my sister, that we chose men that actually remind us of our dad. It's weird because it's obviously not physical. It's not that they look. I think it's in the things that they do, how they show up and how they provide. It's like, even if it's not so much emotional, it's in the actual physical, like being a provider, like in terms of paying the bills, showing up with the kids, doing whatever it is that a man needs to do in the house. I feel like we simultaneously chose men that remind us of our dad. There's always that constant reminder of the princess treatment for me. Like I'll be like, I'm not gonna applaud a fish for swimming because that's what you're meant to do. So I think there's a lot of expectations that I've placed on my partner to say, but my dad did this. So therefore I expect it from you. And so whether or not that's a bad thing, I think that it's a great placeholder because it's not for negative things. That having him in the household, I guess, and he exemplified a lot of characteristics that I would say is giving alpha, and I respected it, and I commend it, and I think that in any partner that I would have, I would look for these certain characteristics from my dad.
Okay, thank you. So it didn't really do a disservice because I know there's also the opposite, right? Some people now will shy away from men because they feel like every man moving forward will abandon you or leave you or not show up. But you took it as just looking for the qualities, still moving
The
forward,
good things.
still seeing love to be alive. I don't think there's really anything
Much.
to be said.
Yeah, I think we touched on a lot of things.
I think we touched on a lot of things. I think we start to get really into it later on, and it could even go more, but we've said a lot. I don't know, Julian, if there's any lasting remarks that you would want to say, again, with the focus of anyone going through wanting to know the presence, the impact of a father. And
I just want to cut in before you even go to him, because obviously being a witness and just to attest to Caesar's growth from just being that young adolescent young man who was lost and hurt and resented my dad, to then becoming a father, holding the resentment, to now giving forgiveness and watching how he shows up for his kids. I think that there's nothing to regret from our experience. I think that everything happens for a reason, and God makes zero mistakes when it comes to the life that he's written for you, or the will or the destiny, their purpose. It's inevitable. So I think for Caesar, as much as you might have felt like you went through all this pain and all this trauma, it only brought the best of the best out of you. I always commend, if I meet a beautiful woman, the first thing I say to her, I could see you with my brother. There is so much light in you. There has been so much growth. There has been so much wisdom. There has been so much maturity for you as a man and for you as a father, that I think it only made you 10 times better. How you show up for your kids, how you want to, even if you're not where you want to be today, you're already enough where you are. So I think that I say that to say that I'm so glad that you have forgiven, because that darkness is gone, and this light is only going to get brighter. I think for the next how many years, like it's only going to get better for you. So I'm glad that, we went through what we went through, because we're only better people. I think. I
want to interject to that too. I think from my observation growing up and seeing Caesar too, Julian, you're always an artist. And I think the time you took for yourself, first of all, I want to also say that to feel is a blessing. How many people don't feel? And it's a human experience. You should feel. You loved your dad. You're passionate. So you should hold him in your heart. Obviously not to hold animosity forever, but you should hold him in your heart. Like, you were my role model. You were someone I looked up to. You didn't show up. I felt let down. But then in that quietness, and you're a man that's quiet, and you observe and you see, and you used to rap about it, but you have very deep thoughts. And I think it's a beautiful thing that you can think, pull the wisdom, articulate what you feel, and even in the resentment, still promise to show up for your kids through and through. All the pain that you felt, all the hurt that you felt, you're like, it doesn't matter. Those two humans are where my heart is and what I'm going to do. And in the right timing, all your dreams are kind of coming in alignment now, where maybe it's even better. You're more aware, you're more steadfast, you can appreciate more. It might have took you on a different turn if you got all the accolades and all the stuff at a younger age. Now you know where you are in terms of grounding. You have Christ. So aside from all the things, Christ is important. That makes you operate in a different realm, even with money, even with certain things, right? And protect for you in some of your darkest times, right? where it's like they still saw the man in you, they still spoken to you, they still could reason with you. And that is important along the way, not to sidetrack my own discussion. But when we get to the end of things where we have all the accolades, we can have all the friends. If I call 50 people, I have courtside tickets, everyone's going to come. But I very much, and I say this to Rebecca a lot, I never forget the people that I ate cereal with. I never forget the people that taught me.
Hold the thought right there. Hold the thought right there.
Go.
It's so funny because I just recently watched a Will Smith interview, and he said, one thing that he said throughout the whole interview that stood out to me was that I wish everyone could make it, or I wish everyone was rich so that they can really see this is not what it is.
Wow.
The real excitement is getting to the bag or getting to that success. Once you finally have the success, been there, done that. I've been to Hawaii 100 times. I've been to this place a million times. Every thrill you've experienced already. Just take a look at their body language. They're just like, that's why they go on drugs.
It's not exciting.
It's not exciting. He said the real experience is the getting there. That thrill that you get in your heart knowing, oh my gosh, I just won an award, or I'm nominated. Like, that excitement. He's like, that's the real living, the getting to.
Yeah.
So never look at whatever you're going through as I'm done, or you know what I mean? Always be optimistic and know that this is the journey, and we don't take L's, we don't take losses, we take lessons. Everything's a lesson. I feel like everything that both you and Rebecca said, I'm sitting there calm, cool, collected, because I know this is reality. It's like there's nothing that can be presented to me now that is going to change who Caesar is. I already been in the company with the greats, Wyclef, Ryan Tedder from One Republic, in my house in Scarborough. I was just recently in LA with Burna Boy, Giveon. So like, I say that to say that I'm always gonna have this humility, groundedness. There's nothing material, because material is an illusion. It's all how you call it? How can you say it? Like, psychological. So it's not even real. Like, this whole thing is the Matrix.
Smoke and mirrors.
Smoky mirrors. Exactly what it is.
Smoke and mirrors.
So
right?
always. And if you don't go through those experiences, you're never gonna know.
Which I also think death brings you to those realities too, but that's a whole nother discussion. Yeah. So any closing thoughts that you would like to say, Julian?
Yeah, just like whatever you're going through right now, like I know someone that needs to hear this, just stick it through, believe in your dreams, and keep in mind that when a race car driver is driving on the track, when he's going off course, you never look at the object you don't want to go into. So the wall, you don't look in the wall. You always stay focused on the road, even if you're going into the wall, and you know what? The car's going to align back to the road.
Amen.
But the moment that you start looking into the thing that you don't want, that's what's going to end up there. That's just energy. So keep focused, steadfast. Take away your energy if you have to. You know what I'm trying to say? Protect your energy. And it doesn't matter what someone's relation is.
Would you suggest if they could dig deep and say a million prayers, you should come to forgiveness?
Forgive. This is why, right? Listen, I still have certain people that I consider enemies and this and that, but my forgiveness is that I'm not going to come for your head. Because if I never had that forgiveness, I'm coming for your head. So my forgiveness is, you're forgiven. I release you from my energy and my thoughts, which is great for my inner being, but it doesn't mean that you're welcome to eat at the table. That's what it means to me. So yeah, you're forgiven, but do your thing over there. You're not welcome to sit and eat at my table in particular, right?
Forgiveness is for you. Jesus Christ forgives. He says, I always said, oh my God, forgive 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. God, Jesus says, forgive 77 times. So with that being said.
Hold on, stop. So because you forgive, does that mean someone's welcome to eat at your table?
No, it doesn't.
That's what we're asking.
What
does it mean for you?
Okay. It does not, but it does mean that there's no emotion toward them. There's no anger, there's no aggression, there's no resentment. It means that there's just this. There's just a level of peace. You've released everything attached to them that was hurting you or triggering you or whatever. It just means it's peace. Like you see them on road, you may not go sit and eat a lunch, but you'll say hi. That's it.
I don't know what even saying hi, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't know.
Remember, it's individual and it's situational.
I think I was having a conversation with Rebecca And it just took over me where I said, you know what? When you're on that journey too, and this is kind of going off, so I'm just going to quickly go off and then we're just going to wrap it up. I just
Mm-hmm.
said to myself, the more you endure life and experiences, the more humble you become, right? And so when I say home, to our death, to our final, right? To our eternal life, right? And I just thought, like, what is it to be Christ-like? Like, I think of service, I think of community, but I just pondered on forgiveness. And I said, it's so easy to be kind to Rebecca because she's kind to me. It's so easy to be kind to you, Julian, because
What
you're
about the
kind
people
to me.
that? Mm-hmm.
But why can't I forgive someone who hasn't been kind to me because I've also not been kind, right? So I just
Mm-hmm.
and I contemplated that. But like, if I'm kind and then they do the same thing again, and how do I feel? But I kept thinking, I'm always supposed to be an example of Christ's kingdom. And Christ forgives all the time. When I think
77
of our
times.
grandparents, when I think of our aunts, the things that they endure, but they believe in God and they love God and they hold that as
See,
an anchor.
I don't mean to interrupt. To forgive doesn't mean that you sit there and watch someone step on you. I have another cliche. It sounds like a cliche, but it may not be a cliche. Is that this? A passive Christian, listen again, I want to say this slower. A passive Christian is worse than a gangster that snitches. Take that in for a second. So that means
Mm-hmm.
that just
Mm-hmm.
because you forgive, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean you're enabling someone to come step on you again. Think about the
Mm-hmm.
Bible. Let's go back into the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
There's many times that Christ had to disappear. Read it again. He wasn't just always there taking abuse. There's enough times he had to disappear. And they're looking for him and they couldn't find him. Because that
Mm-hmm.
means that you got to take your energy away.
Mhm.
You got to take your energy away. So forgive them, release them from your energy in terms of you're not holding nothing bad on your heart. You're not doing any detriment to yourself. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, you're not going to put your energy. Why are you going to put yourself with your enemy? The Bible also says, don't ever trust the enemy.
Mhm.
It says that. Don't ever trust your enemy. So I release you, I forgive you, but I don't trust you, and I don't necessarily want to place my energy around you.
Mm-hmm.
In forgiving your dad, though, Julian and Rebecca, it was to allow him back to eat at the table with you and not to see him as an enemy, right? Because for some people, it's not like obvious, oh, it's my dad. Of course not. For some people, it's like, no, you made a choice. These are consequences. I forgive you, but I want sort of a distant relationship. Did you feel that, Julian, or no?
I just feel like life is too short, and as I witness him, I'm holding on to all these things. I witness him and seeing a smaller, skinnier version of my dad, not even the tough,
Because now
rough
that he's
alpha
also
male.
older,
So it's like
right?
a man is just a man, once a
Mm-hmm.
man, twice a child. Like I even
Exactly.
think of it. You're a little baby, you're gonna go to be a man, and then you have all these things, and then you're gonna go back down. And when you're going back down, I swear to you, psychologically, they all go back to being a baby. I'm even witnessing that with my mom in some instances. It's like you're
Same.
going back to being a child. So I just have to look
Mm-hmm.
into it and be like, what is man? I swear. But all these answers I got is from the scripture. Or else I wouldn't probably have this heart of forgiveness. It's just like, what is a man? Like I said, like you're just really, we're just here passing time and everything's a test.
Yeah.
And if someone is saying I'm sorry and they're
Mhm.
giving you that, which my
Mhm.
dad has done, who am
Mhm.
I to hold on to that?
Mhm.
It doesn't necessarily mean that whatever I do now, you're necessarily included and you must be. But I'm happy to see that my daughter got to see my dad for the first time ever. And she's
Mhm.
11 years old.
Mhm.
My son got to see my dad when he was a baby, but he's 7 now and got to see him again. So it's good to just see that because, like I said, we're once here and then we're gone. So we gotta keep that in mind. It's maturity. It's so much like it's a lot.
I know it's cliche, and a lot of people think that, it's better to keep your business private and not, talk to people about things. But I promise you, you're
They
never
feel
the
vulnerable.
only
They feel
one.
vulnerable. Hmm.
And also just maybe judged and not want people to know things, especially in our culture. I feel like in growing up in a Caribbean home, you always kept your business home, right? So I think that now I will say one thing is therapy is a thing. You
Absolutely.
don't have to go to therapy because you feel like you're mental or depressed or you're crazy or,
Which
you
we all
know,
are a little bit mental and a little bit depressed, which is also okay.
I'm just
Like,
saying, no, I'm just saying it doesn't have to be a condition that makes you want to go to
yes,
talk to somebody. I feel like it's just one of those things where it's like sometimes getting advice from your mom, your grandma, your aunt, your brother, your sister can be so
biased. It can be biased.
biased
Yes.
because they're your family. And sometimes talking to a stranger, you feel like they can't relate. But if you get a therapist that is connect, like they know how to connect, then you will really get to break down certain I
Yeah.
feel like barriers of trauma or things that
Yeah.
you didn't even realize. You didn't even realize that they were things that you needed to break down. Because I
Yeah.
started therapy last year, and I'm so glad that I actually got to have a female Jamaican background. So there were so many already common, commonalities there, where it made it that just much smoother, that when I walked in that door, I unpacked, I undressed, I let everything out. And after I walked out, I was like there was a relief and there was a release. So I advise, even if you are young and you think, oh, there's a lot of options for free therapy. There's mentors that you can get. Anyways, my advice is to get a therapist. Get a therapist. It will save so much time alone when you feel like you're having, your dark moments and you feel so alone. I feel like we could save a lot of young people if we promote going to therapy.
I swear that's another conversation, but a lot of the things that happen, it's going to give you PTSD and it's going to give you anxiety and it's going to give you trauma. So like she said, I highly suggest for most of us to seek therapy. Like, trust me, we need it.
Yeah,
Mental health
we
is a real
need it.
thing.
Yep.
Thank you so much, both of you,
I
for
already left my grand parting remarks, y'all.
okay. Thank you for your energy, your time. I hope that one person hears this, feels connected, and releases them